In 2023, ChatGPT will ignite widespread global attention on artificial intelligence. In the scientific and technological circles, the intellectual circles and the industrial circles, there are heated debates around the development prospect and impact of AI, artificial intelligence. And ChatGPT itself is triggering a series of profound chain reactions, sweeping across various industries, enterprises, countries, and even individuals. Famous diplomat, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, and Dean of Schwartzman College of MIT Daniel Huttenlocher jointly published an article in the media this year. ChatGPT heralds a future and intelligent revolution. The article proposes that a new technology is trying to change the process of human cognition, which is a shock that has not been experienced since the invention of printing. This new technology is called generative artificial intelligence. ChatGPT, developed by the OpenAI Research Laboratory, is now able to communicate with humans. As its capabilities become more widespread, they will redefine human knowledge, accelerate changes in the fabric of our reality, and reorganize politics and society. Kissinger is 100 years old, but his mind is still very strong. Sober, thinking is still very clear. He has always been very concerned about the development of artificial intelligence. He once said that people who engage in technology care about applications, and what I care about is impact. In this article, he strongly urged that humans need to redefine their relationship with AI, a new species, and we humans are not ready for all of this. Recently, Kissinger, Schmidt and Huttenlocher co-authored the new book The Era of Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanity, which discusses artificial intelligence and its ways of changing human society from the dimensions of politics, economy, and technology, and also proposes the questions and answers that humans will have to face in the next few years. Artificial intelligence could lead to the end of the Enlightenment. In 1450, goldsmith Johannes Gutenberg of Mainz, Germany, used borrowed money to build an experimental printing press. His efforts were hardly successful, as his business was in trouble and creditors sued him. But in 1455, Europe's first printed book, the 42-line Bible, appeared. Ultimately, his printing press sparked a revolution that reverberated in every sphere of life in the West and around the world. The invention of the printing press replaced ritual teachings with the pursuit of empirical knowledge, and the Age of Enlightenment gradually replaced the Age of Religion. Personal thought and scientific knowledge replaced faith as the primary criterion of human consciousness. Information is stored and systematized through the expansion of libraries. The Age of Enlightenment was the source of many of the ideas and actions that shaped the contemporary world. Generative AI presents a philosophical and practical challenge not experienced since the dawn of the Enlightenment. The printing press enabled scholars to quickly copy each other's discoveries and share them. The unprecedented integration and dissemination of information has given rise to the scientific method. What was originally impenetrable has become the starting point for accelerated queries. Medieval interpretations of the world based on religious beliefs were gradually weakened. The depths of the universe can be explored until new limits of human understanding are reached. The Enlightenment sought to make traditional truth give way to the analytical reason of the liberated man. The purpose of the Internet is to acquire knowledge by accumulating and manipulating ever-expanding data. Human cognition loses its individuality. The individual becomes the data, and the data becomes the ruler. When information is contextualized, it becomes knowledge. When knowledge is convincing, it becomes wisdom. However, the Internet allows users to be inundated with the opinions of thousands, if not millions, of other users, depriving them of the solitude needed for sustained thinking that has historically given birth to belief in knowledge. With the disappearance of solitude, the spirit of perseverance will not be the same as before. It should be noted that not only the formation of beliefs requires perseverance, but also the loyalty to beliefs. This is especially true when there are often lonely roads to get. Only when this belief is combined with wisdom can people enter and explore new horizons. The digital world has little patience for wisdom, its values shaped by approval rather than introspection. It essentially challenges the Enlightenment's claim that reason is the most important factor in consciousness. The digital world removes the constraints of distance, time, and language on human behavior in the past, which itself provides a meaningful connection. With the rise of artificial intelligence, the definition of human roles, human aspirations, and human achievements will all change. What are some of the qualities of human beings that should be celebrated in this day and age? What are its guiding principles? People have two traditional ways of understanding the world, belief and reason. Now a third is added: artificial intelligence. In an era where artificial intelligence can evaluate everything in our lives, predict what will happen next, and decide what to do, an age where reality can be predicted, approximated, and simulated, the role of human reason will change. Our sense of personal and social purpose changes with it. In some domains, artificial intelligence may augment human rationality. In other fields, artificial intelligence may give humans a sense of being on the sidelines. Societies have two options: one is to fight independently, the other is to start a dialogue with the intention of cooperation, and use the power of human progress to define the role of artificial intelligence and clarify our own role. The former path is an abstention-like acquiescence, while the latter requires the conscious engagement of leaders and philosophers, scientists and humanists, and various other groups. Ultimately, individuals and societies will have to decide which aspects of life should be left to human intelligence and which to AI or human-AI collaboration. Human-AI collaboration is not a peer-to-peer relationship. At the end of the day, AI is both built by humans and directed by humans. But as we grow accustomed to and dependent on AI, limiting it could lead to higher costs, more difficult psychological challenges, and even more complex technology. Our mission will be to understand the changes AI brings to human experience, the challenges it challenges human identity, and which aspects of these developments need to be mediated or checked by other human obligations. How the future of human beings will be presented depends on the definition of human beings' roles in the era of artificial intelligence. The AI revolution is happening faster than most people expected. Neither AI nor its impact will be on our hands unless we develop new concepts to explain, deduce, and organize the transformations it brings. Morally, philosophically, psychologically, practically, in every respect, we find ourselves on the precipice of a new era from which there is no turning back. We must use our most fundamental qualities and resources, such as reason, belief, tradition, and technology, to adjust our relationship with reality so that reality remains human reality. AI will revolutionize education. The advent of the age of artificial intelligence will change our relationship with others, and our relationship with ourselves. Just as there is a generational gap between today's digital natives and previous generations, there will be differences between AI natives and their predecessors. In the future, children may grow up with an AI assistant more advanced than Alexas and Google Homes, an assistant that is a nanny, mentor, advisor, friend, and more. Such an assistant can teach a child virtually any language and train a child in any subject, tailoring the teaching to each student based on their performance and learning style so they get the best results. AI can act as a playmate when the child is bored and as a guardian when the child's parents are away. As education powered and tailored by AI is introduced, ordinary people will both be empowered and challenged. The line between humans and artificial intelligence will be startlingly blurred. If kids use digital assistants at an early age, they'll get used to it. Meanwhile, digital assistants will grow and develop with their owners, internalizing their preferences and biases as they mature. Digital assistants, tasked with maximizing the convenience or satisfaction of their human companions through personalization, give advice and information that may be deemed essential by the human user, even if the human user cannot explain exactly why they are better than others any alternative sources. Over time, people may prefer their digital assistants to humans. Because human beings don't know how to match what they like, and it's even more annoying. As a result, our dependence on each other and our relationships may be weakened. What will become of those wonderful qualities and irreplaceable lessons of childhood? How will a machine that cannot perceive or experience human emotions but provide ubiquitous companionship affect children's perception of the world and their socialization? How will it shape the imagination? How will it change the nature of the game? How would it change the process of making friends or fitting into society? Suffice to say, the easy availability of digital information has transformed the educational and cultural experience of a generation. Now, the world is embarking on another grand experiment in which children will grow up in the company of machines that will in many ways act as teachers of previous generations of humans, but without human senses, insight power, and emotion. Ultimately, experiment, they might ask, has their experience been altered in ways they did not anticipate or accept? Parents may resist the technology for fear that such exposure will have uncertain effects on their children. Just as parents of the previous generation limited their children's TV viewing time and today's parents limit their children's digital device use, parents of the future may limit the time their children spend with artificial intelligence. But those who want to push their kids to succeed, or who don't have the will or ability to have their kids raised by human parents or human mentors and can only rely on AI, or who just want to satisfy their kids' desire to have AI friends, might be in favor let children be accompanied by artificial intelligence. Therefore, these impressionable children who are still in the stage of learning and development may form their impressions of the world through dialogue with artificial intelligence. Ironically, while digitization has made more and more information available, it has compressed the space needed for deep, focused thought. Today's near-constant media stream increases the cost of thinking and thus reduces the frequency of thinking. Algorithms push for eye-catching things in response to the human desire for stimulation, and what grabs attention is often dramatic, unexpected, and infectious. Whether a person can find space to think in such an environment is one question, and the fact that the forms of communication that dominate today do not facilitate tempered reason is another. Mankind must prepare for the future. Machine learning systems have surpassed any one human knowledge. In limited cases, they have surpassed human knowledge, beyond the boundaries of what we think of as knowable. This has sparked a revolution in the field where such breakthroughs have been made. AI has transformed the central problem in biology of determining protein structures and the problems of advanced mathematicians doing proofs, among many others. As models move from human-generated text to more inclusive inputs, machines may alter the fabric of reality itself. Quantum theory holds that observation creates reality. No state is fixed and nothing can be said to exist until it is measured. If this is true, and if machine observations can also fix reality, and given the superhuman speed at which artificial intelligence systems observe, it seems likely that the rate of evolution that defines reality will accelerate. Dependence on machines will determine and thus alter the fabric of reality, generating a new future we do not yet understand, and we must be prepared to explore and lead in this future. Traditional reason and belief will continue to exist in the age of artificial intelligence, but their nature and scope will be perfected by the introduction of a new, powerful form of machine-operated logic. Human identity may remain at the pinnacle of life intelligence, but human rationality will no longer be seen as the totality of intelligence dedicated to understanding reality. In order to clarify our place in this world, our focus may need to shift from centered on human reason to centered on human dignity and autonomy. AI may play a leading role in exploring and managing the physical and digital worlds. In certain domains, humans may be at the mercy of artificial intelligence, preferring the data processing of artificial intelligence to the limitations of human thinking. This conformity may lead many, if not most, back into a personal, filtered, customized world. In this context, the power of AI, combined with its pervasiveness, invisibility, and opacity, will raise doubts about the prospects for a free society, or even free will. In many domains, AI and humans will become equal partners in the enterprise of exploration. Human identity will thus reflect a reconciliation with new relationships, whether with artificial intelligence or with reality. Different societies will carve out different realms for human leadership. At the same time, they will develop the social structures and habits necessary to understand and interact effectively with AI. In order to live in harmony with artificial intelligence, society needs to build the corresponding knowledge and psychological infrastructure, and use its unique talents to benefit human beings as much as possible. Technology will force adjustments in many, indeed most, aspects of political and social life. Some societies and institutions may gradually adapt, while others may find that their underlying assumptions conflict with the way they perceive reality and themselves. These conflicts are likely to intensify as AI facilitates education and access to information, while also increasing the likelihood that information will be exaggerated and manipulated. Individuals will be better informed, better prepared, and their opinions more influential, potentially making more demands on their governments. In this regard, some principles can be given. First, to ensure human autonomy, core government decision-making should be detached from AI-infested structures and limited to human management and oversight. The principles inherent in our society dictate the peaceful resolution of disputes. In this process, order and legitimacy are interrelated. Order without legitimacy is just power. Ensuring human oversight and decisive participation in the fundamental components of government is critical to maintaining its legitimacy. For example, in the administration of justice, the provision of explanation and moral reasoning are key elements of its legitimacy, enabling participants to assess the fairness of adjudication and question its conclusions if they do not conform to the moral principles upheld by society. It can be seen that in the era of artificial intelligence, when it comes to major issues, Decision makers should be non-anonymous human beings with corresponding qualifications and able to give reasons for the choices they make. Every society must first determine the full extent of the permissible use of artificial intelligence in various fields. The right to use some powerful artificial intelligence, such as general artificial intelligence, needs to be strictly controlled to prevent it from being abused. Because AGI can be quite expensive to build and only a few organizations can afford it, its use may be limited. Certain restrictions may violate a society's ideals of free enterprise and the democratic process. Other restrictions, such as restricting the use of artificial intelligence in the production of biological weapons, should be easy to agree on but require international cooperation. Machines will develop far faster than our genes, causing domestic chaos and international divisions. We must respond accordingly, especially with philosophies and conceptualisms on a national and global scale. Global coordination will need to emerge through perception or catastrophe, as Immanuel Kant predicted 3 centuries ago. The European Union has outlined a plan to regulate artificial intelligence, with the goal of strengthening the management of how companies and governments use data and artificial intelligence, and promoting the creation and development of European artificial intelligence companies. The regulatory framework includes a risk assessment of various uses of artificial intelligence and limits or even prohibits government use of certain technologies deemed high risk, such as facial recognition, although facial recognition has some beneficial uses, such as finding missing persons and combating human trafficking. No doubt these initial concepts will face widespread debate and revision, but this is also a precedent for a society deciding to limit the scope of AI in the belief that this will allow it to drive lifestyle advancements and future developments. Chat's answers to many questions are evocative because they raise more questions than conclusions. We now have a novel and spectacular achievement: artificial intelligence, the glory of the human mind. We haven't evolved a destination for it yet. As we become technological Homo sapiens, we urgently need to define the purpose of our species. Now it is our duty to provide real answers. The AI 2.0 market is expected to be 10 times the size of the mobile internet, and it is expected to form an innovation complex where giants, small, medium and micro innovative enterprises develop together. Finishing Wu Ying. Head Photo Photography Den Pen. In the future, I think the most revolutionary AI 2.0 application is AI First. Kai-Fu Lee, chairman of Innovation Works, said in his speech. What is an AI First application? It refers to those applications that cannot exist without the big model. On May 28, Kai-Fu Lee, chairman and CEO of Sinovation Ventures, and dean of the Institute of Artificial Intelligence Engineering of Sinovation Ventures, delivered a speech entitled New Opportunities from AI 1.0 to AI 2.0 at the 2023 Zonguancan Forum. In his speech, he gave his own views on the commercial value of large-scale model development, the impact of AI 2.0 on the future application ecology, and the prospect of large-scale model development in China for those voices who have doubts about the development of large-scale models. He said that even an imperfect large model has a commercial value of tens of trillions of dollars. The future AI 2.0 market is expected to be 10 times the size of the mobile internet, and it can accommodate 3 levels of horse racing from giants, small and medium-sized enterprises, and start UPS. It is expected to form an innovation complex where giants and small, medium, and micro-innovative enterprises develop together. The wonderful points of Li Kai-Fu's speech are as follows. 1. In the era of AI 1.0, every application is an isolated island, but with a large model, a large amount of data is used to train a basic large model at one time, and then this model is used to adjust the required application, so that the cost is reduced a lot of. 2. Even if it is an imperfect large model, it still has considerable commercial value, even tens of trillions of commercial value. It depends on how humans cooperate with it, which is the so-called human in the loop. 3. We can fully imagine that today's Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Photoshop, and other applications will all be rewritten with AI large models, and after the rewrite, its user experience will change, and even its business model will also change. 4. Back then, if you wanted to start a business or invest in the mobile internet, you must choose apps that must have mobile. If you want to start a business in the field of artificial intelligence today, you must choose an app that must have artificial intelligence. 5. Model size is not the only determinant of large model development, data quality is more important. 6. The AI 2.0 market is expected to be 10 times the size of the mobile internet, and it is expected to form an innovation complex where giants, small, medium and micro innovative enterprises developed together. Source: video screenshot. The following is the full text of Li Kaifu's speech, with deletions. I am very glad to have this opportunity to look at the recent AI 2.0 from the perspective of our investment institutions. I may be the one who understands AI best among investment institutions, and I may also be the one who understands investment best in the AI field. I am very excited to see the launch of the entire AI 2.0 and large models in the past 2 years, and I have read almost all the related papers in the past 5 years. The investment and technology teams of Innovation Works are also researching this field. For this reason, they went to the United States to learn about the latest developments of OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft. What I want to introduce today is not the companies invested by Sinovation Ventures or other actual businesses, but to address the recent doubts about the AI 2.0 model. I hope to give a more general explanation, which will be helpful to everyone. The business value of large models. What is AI 2.0? In our view, from the perspective of investment to generate economic value, the development stages of AI are divided into AI 1.0 and 2.0. AI 1.0 is the deep learning that happened after AlphaGo, and this kind of deep learning has entered all walks of life and created value. AI 1.0 started to develop 8 or 9 years ago, but encountered some bottlenecks in the past 2 years, and these bottlenecks happen to be solved by large models. What is the bottleneck encountered by AI 1.0? When there was no large model at that time, we needed to collect, clean, and label data in this field to do AI applications in a field, and then use it to adjust the model. The cost of the whole process was very expensive. For big companies like Douyin, Ali, or Baidu, there is no problem. They collect too much data, and there are many opportunities to make money. But if you are a bank, insurance company, or factory, then there are huge problems in the implementation of AI applications, and the cost is unbearably high. The characteristic of the large model is that you can train a large model at one time, and then do a transfer learning or fine-tuning when you want to apply it. In the era of AI 1.0, every application is an isolated island, but with a large model, a large amount of data is used to train a basic large model at one time, and then the model is used to adjust the required application, which reduces the cost a lot. For example, a speaker product like Xiao AI may be confused once it jumps out of the field that Xiao AI understands. You will find that the smart speaker is not that smart. It can only play some music. Simple things like checking the weather, there are still many things that cannot be done. But when you put something like ChatGPT in, its knowledge reserve is activated, and as long as you adjust its dialogue mode, it can become a very good dialogue robot. If you still want this robot to be able to book airline tickets, serve as bank customer service, handle customer complaints or some customer problems, then we will fine-tune the large model and let it enter specific application scenarios. In the past, it might cost tens of millions of yuan to be a chatbot customer service in a bank, but now it can be done much better than before with only a few million yuan. Therefore, the value of a large model is definitely not just a very smart AI search engine, but can bring about an explosion of applications. The big model now also has the problem of serious nonsense, which is very difficult to solve, because its reasoning ability comes from the same reason, so if you reduce its nonsense to close to zero, it has almost no reasoning ability yet, so those reasons that make it smart are also reasons that make it bullshit. Even if it is an imperfect large model, it still has considerable commercial value, even tens of trillions of commercial value. It depends on how humans cooperate with it, which is the so-called human in the loop. A reporter uses AI to help him write, or a lawyer uses AI to help him with a lawsuit. In the end, as long as the article or lawsuit is still checked and responsible by a human, and the AI is only doing a preliminary writing, then there is no problem. Humans know that AI will make mistakes, so don't let it make a draft, and don't let it directly serve users to ensure that users will not be harmed by its wrong information. AI gives full play to the advantages of its massive database. For example, it can write a new summary based on reading 1,000 articles, and write a summary based on reading the past 10,000 historical lawsuits. These high-quality summaries can allow reporters to or lawyers get useful information and let people check whether AI has made mistakes. Also, in some fields, people don't really care about AI making mistakes. For example, in entertainment applications, it doesn't matter if you are a hero in the game and have a longer or shorter beard, or it doesn't matter if it says a wrong sentence. Anyway, they are all fabricated in the game. In fact, many application fields can tolerate these imperfect large models. Based on the analysis of this fact, the application of AI in productivity has great potential. Of course, some fields are very critical and mistakes cannot be tolerated, such as news search, government websites, or medical education. These fields are difficult to do. In the future, we need to solve the problem of making mistakes in large models. AI 2.0 rewrites the application ecology. We can fully imagine that today's Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Photoshop, and other applications will all be rewritten with AI large models, and after the rewrite, its user experience will change, and even its business model will change. There are also some areas where the cost of his mistakes is not too high, such as the push used for advertising. If an advertisement is pushed wrong, it is harmless. Today we are pushed a lot of advertisements by mistake, and the advertisements we receive when we turn on the TV and the website are not targeted, but AI can make advertisements more targeted, although occasionally it will make mistakes. So just the above areas, I think it is an opportunity of tens of trillions of dollars. Of course, we have to continue to work hard to reduce the frequency of its nonsense. There is a whole set of methods here, from pre-training data to training alignment, and then to subsequent processing, as well as some early warning and temporary methods that can be quickly corrected. Together, I believe it can be done. Productivity is the greatest opportunity. There are roughly 3 ecosystems in AI 2.0. The bottom layer we usually talk about is the basic model. What I just talked about above is the top application layer, such as helping you write manuscripts, write lawsuits, draw pictures, cutouts, etc. There is also an intermediate layer that provides various tools for model fine-tuning and inference transfer learning to help large models practice more efficiently. The middle layer has 2 parts. The first one is to expand from the basic model layer. For example, if the model is so large, can it be reduced when reasoning is needed, and a large model can be turned into a small model for a certain field? Or the problem of reducing the frequency of nonsense just mentioned. The other is adjustment from the application layer down. For example, when we want to rewrite a Photoshop, you can say a word and the picture will come out, but you may have to go further and say that I want to change the color of the rainbow, or inside to adjust the male-female ratio of the audience. This requires an intelligent cutting of the large model and an understanding of some objects. These are actually not directly related to the large model itself, but if you don't have these functions, it is impossible to push Photoshop to someone who wants to make a picture. The middle layer is actually very important. What does the middle layer remind us of? For example, the purpose of the middle layer provided by Windows, Android, and Apple is very simple to minimize the cost of application development. Only in this way can the number of applications increase and create a virtuous circle in which users bring more applications. I also talked about the advent of the AI 2.0 era before, which is a platform plus application model. When you have this platform technology, it will rewrite every field. We can clearly feel that, for example, when making a game, the generation of all your characters, including backgrounds, props, clothes, and even all codes, will eventually be written by AI, so it is very likely that some children will put him in the community in the future. Write out the game you want to play, and everyone will use words to introduce the game to each other, and you can play it in a few seconds. The e-commerce and advertisements just mentioned are also an example. We can tailor advertisements and pictures for each person according to his needs, cognition, education level, and shopping habits, which will maximize his desire to buy. Of course, there will be regulatory issues here. What if what you write is fake or hurts users? This still requires legal supervision, but I hope you can understand these 2 examples. The big model is really not just a question and answer engine. It has changed the ecology of all apps. It will rewrite every ecosystem we use today. To be AI first in the era of large models. The reform of the large model is not only about artificial intelligence, but also brings about some huge gaps in the platform. Among all the applications, AI first will be the most important application. What is AI first? It is this application without AI. It does not exist. For example, some of the mobile-first applications we use now, such as Meituan, Didi, and Douyin, develop applications based on the premise that the mobile phone is on the person's body 24/7. Without the mobile phone, these applications cannot be used. These companies have made full use of the functions brought by mobile phones, developed new applications adapted to mobile phones, and obtained our geographical location, so that we can use them to complete activities such as taxis and food delivery. Then other companies, such as Sina, NetEase, Dubon, etc., have done well in the mobile internet era, but they have only translated PC applications, so they have not achieved the same explosion. Back then, if you wanted to start a business or invest in the mobile internet, you must choose apps that must have mobile. If you want to start a business in the field of artificial intelligence today, you must choose an app that must have artificial intelligence. To put it simply, AI first means that if the large model is removed, the application will be completely paralyzed and useless. This kind of application is what we need to do today. It will be the darling of the future in this era. Its entire user experience may be more about learning to communicate with us in human language, rather than forcing us to learn computer language. Of course, we all know that there are still many challenges, including false information, privacy protection, and other issues. Therefore, strengthening supervision is essential, but at the same time we also need more technologies to help solve these problems. If it is definitely not enough to use regulation or technology alone, the two methods should be combined. Recently, there have been some controversial voices in the market, such as the Chinese version of OpenAI can be made by using overseas open source large models. There is no need to make large models, small models are enough. Large models are expensive and labor intensive, only giants have admission tickets, there are too many large-scale startups in China, etc. In my opinion, open source is very important. China's technology will definitely need open source in the future, because universities and entrepreneurs do not have open source, and it is difficult to get the power to start. But we must not believe what is said on the internet. I took an open source model, such as GPT-4, for training, and suddenly found that the model is as good as GPT-4, so the large model is worthless, and you don't have to do it. This is absolutely wrong. Because first, the open source model itself may have limitations. When you do large model training, you need a lot of GPUs, and the cost is relatively high. The open source model basically fixes the ceiling of your model, and then you do the work of alignment adjustment and learning inside. The improvement that these tasks bring to the model is determined by your ceiling. If your ceiling is GPT-4 from the beginning, there is definitely no way to make a large model that exceeds it. Second, many people use GPT-4 to train their open source models, but we really cannot guarantee that GPT-4 will continue to be open for use in the future. There is also a third problem, which is to fine-tune the models trained overseas in China, which is very dangerous. Because cultures, habits, laws, and regulations are different at home and abroad, take a model trained in the United States to China for debugging, do you think those frameworks can solve domestic problems? So I still believe that it is necessary to open source large models. Of course, it is impossible to have 50 large model companies in the future. This will shrink to a relatively small number, just like the US search engine. Mergers and acquisitions, the remaining 5 or 6 companies have developed very well. For example, Google was the last to start, but developed into the first. So I think there will be a few, whether it is mainly a large company or a small company. It is too early to make a conclusion. Everyone still has a chance. Today, especially when we are still catching up in this field, we should still encourage various models, because it is difficult for us to know who can make it. There are 3 steps in the evolution of large-scale models. The first step is medium-scale large-scale models. Most Chinese participants are in this step. The second step is to cross the emergence threshold and become mainstream large-scale models. At present, some large-scale model companies in China have reached 600. The data scale of 100 million is roughly in the second stage, but the quality of data in China is not high enough. If you want to enter the third stage, both data quality and data scale are important. The third step is to become a leading large-scale model company. At present, only 2 foreign companies have reached the third step. Their model data scale and data quality are very good. There is also reinforcement learning based on human feedback, which can be linked to many downstream applications. What I want to talk about is the model. In particular, I think there is one point in OpenAI's GPT-4 that everyone has not noticed, that is, its model scaling, scale-up, function, which claims to be able to use 1,000th or 10,000th one of the time to predict whether the training of a model will be successful. When it takes us a month to train a large model, if we make a mistake, thousands of GPUs will be wasted. Then this set of scale-up functions quantifies the possibility of successful training to a certain extent, which can reduce waste. But we don't know how OpenAI operates the scale up now. We can only try to do this from some papers they issued. If we are faced with a shortage of GPUs, we still need to understand how to use our GPUs to the extreme. Model size is not the only determinant of large model development. Data quality is more important. In the era of AI 1.0, when we train various language models, the more data the better. A small mistake is harmless, but the experience we have gained from large model training is that both data quality and quantity are important, but compared in terms of quality, it cannot be sacrificed. I think that this area needs the help and promotion of the country. The quality of internet data in the United States is higher than that in China. For example, if my family has any health problems, I must go to WebMD or Cleveland Clinic to find them, but there is no similar website in China. China currently does not have a non-profit data collection platform, so we still need the power of the national government to promote the collection of high-quality data and narrow the gap in data quality with foreign countries. The next gap between China and the United States may be reflected in this data quality. AI 2.0 Outlook. In the future, I think the most revolutionary AI 2.0 application should be AI first. In the end, those who can stand out are those pioneers who dare to fully invest in new technologies. In the past, it was human beings who needed to learn computer languages. Then it is likely that computers will learn our languages in the future, which will greatly free up our time. We just tell AI what we want to do and it will do it for us. For example, I can tell the smart assistant that tomorrow is my wife's birthday, and I need flowers, cakes, and gifts, and it will help me with all of them, which saves me a lot of time. Now we are recruiting assistants to help us do these things and save time. In the future, these can be solved by AI assistants. In the future, I also believe that the large model will not be just a chat tool, but will gradually exceed the expectations of users and develop into an intelligent productivity tool. When that day finally arrives, we will find that the current business model will change and the App Store will not exist. For example, when I told AI that my wife bought cakes and flowers for my birthday, it no longer needed to go to the e-commerce website, but could directly place an order with the warehouse, so it would subvert the existing business model and bring more economic opportunities. The AI applications we see now are basically in the virtual world, but in the future AI will move towards entities. We have a concept called embodied AI, which means that if you use massive videos as training data, it is also possible for robots to understand your needs. You tell it to order some potato chips, and it knows that it needs to open the drawer, take the plate, pour it out, etc. Of course, it may be difficult to see them put into practical application scenarios in the next 3 to 5 years, but academic and industrial the combination makes this not seem so far-fetched. Therefore, the AI model is a historical opportunity that China cannot miss. This is the largest platform revolution in history, and it is 10 times greater than the changes brought about by Windows and Android. It will rewrite all applications, restructure human work, allow creative people to better focus on research work, amplify their ingenuity by 10 times or more, and replace a lot of repetitive labor. China's current start is a bit later than that of the United States, but we have a huge application market, and the connectivity of all aspects of our economy is also very strong. The Chinese government can do a better job than Western countries in terms of resource allocation and work arrangements, and can effectively let more Chinese people find jobs that suit them. China also has a huge talent advantage. There are a lot of AI engineers and AI scientists in China. Maybe the top ones are still in the United States, but many young scientists in China are also very powerful. However, we still have a challenge, that is, the computing power in the past is not as good as that of the United States, and we have less experience in large-scale models, but I believe that with the joint efforts of the government, large enterprises, and investment companies, we will soon be able to overcome this problem question. Andreessen Horowitz, a well-known American investment institution, has a prediction for this field. The potential size of this market is difficult to grasp. It will be between all software and all human efforts. AI 2.0 market forecasted will be 10 times the scale of the mobile internet, and it is expected to form an innovation complex where giants, small, medium and micro innovative enterprises develop together.